I know who I am. I love who I am. I daily improve and grow. I am self-motivated and always inspired to excel. I have a clear vision. I have hope and faith. I believe in myself and my dreams. I am purpose-driven. My gifts and abilities are activated. I operate with full efficiency. I sweatlessly triumph in all things. I create the future of my dreams. I am daily transformed and translated. I operate supernaturally. I activate my divinity. I am practical and real. I have the ability to attain, consolidate, and aspire to new levels of success, wealth, and well-being. I positively critique and review my position and situation for improvement. I advance and grow daily. I am empowered to be all that I was created to be. Everybody in life wants to succeed. That's right. You want to blow, right? Oh yeah, you want to achieve every goal that you set out. In fact, man is a goal-seeking animal. The only thing that gives you fulfillment and satisfaction is when you go after your goals and you achieve them. So says Les Brown. That's right. You know, if you looked at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the highest of all human beings is self-actualization. That's right. When you self-actualize, you find fulfillment, satisfaction, joy, happiness, and peace. Only 8% of people every year achieve their goals. 92% fail every year. There's a reason why. It's because success requires principles. Success has a formula. Have you wondered why the greatest sports people in the world, the best musicians in the world, the high flyers in the world have coaches? It's because they know that there are formulas. They know that there's a secret to success and achievement. And they all get coaches to work with them. In this episode, Eden is going to be working with Onwuka. That's right. Coach Eden and Onwuka are going to be taking you through the process of how to achieve your goals and how to attain success. Everybody needs this episode. That's right. Let me repeat it. Everybody needs this episode. Welcome to the Transformation Show, and make sure you follow Eden as she takes Onwuka through the process. Enjoy.
Well, hello, Omo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Eden.
Good morning, right? Awesome. And you're joining from?
I am joining from Columbus, Ohio.
Well, I bring you greetings from Texas, United States. So again, Eden Onwuka. I'm a relationship alignment and executive coach. So my goal today is to listen to you and help you achieve your own goals. So your goal today is the driving force. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Awesome. And I wanted to, assure you of something that is very important to me, and I'm hoping is also going to be very important to you. There is a system I work with. It's the VAT system, and V stands for vulnerability, A stands for authenticity, and T stands for transparency. My commitment to you is that you can be vulnerable. You can be your authentic self. Hey, I'm your friend, okay? And you can be as transparent as possible. So against this backdrop, I'm also having the same commitment to you. So if it's okay with you, while you're speaking, I want to be able to capture the important things that you are saying. So is it okay if I take notes?
That is great. That's
awesome. Perfect. So I will just be taking notes simply for the purpose of capturing the most important things you are saying. So
okay,
let's get you started. So, Omo, I'm curious to know what made you say, I think I need a coach.
That's an interesting question. Why did I come to this point where I decided that I needed a coach? As a person who is a driver by nature, I have been at the front seat of my life. I have thought about goals, set goals, accomplish goals, and always taking my life by its helm. Whatever I set my heart to do, I try as much as possible to accomplish it. And I've been successful as it is to this point, and I'm grateful to God for all that He has helped me accomplish in my life. But it got to a point where there was a desire for more. There was a desire to grow more. And as much as I tried, I just couldn't find that capacity within myself, by myself, to do so. And I started asking myself, what is the problem? How I was trying to employ the same principles and knowledge and, learnings from my past in, accomplishing or even figuring out what my next steps in life would be. But I always got stopped at the point where my own desire didn't necessarily thrive enough to get me to where I needed to be, or to break out from that the need for more. And I was, I kept asking myself the same question: what am I missing? What am I missing? And from multiple research, listening to many others, I realized that the saying is really true, that you can, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to have others going with you. And that's the one thing that I think I have missed so far, is having someone to go with me on a journey and help me be accountable, help me to look outside of myself, And so that's why I was like, okay, I think at this point in my life, in order to accomplish these greater goals that seem to surpass everything that I've ever done, I will need a coach. And that's why I'm here.
That was captured very brilliantly. And if I hear what you are saying, and you've raised some very, very important keys, okay? And so what I heard you say is, you appear to be an extremely driven, successful young lady, and that's really commendable. And you've done well for yourself, mirroring what you said. But you used the word that more. You kind of want more, and you want to be accountable to maybe a system that makes you achieve more. So let me ask, if you could describe more in very specific terms, what will that more be?
I would say it would be contentment and peace. Because in finding what I am to do and be contented in that, and finding peace in that, I think everything else revolves around it. So finding what gives me contentment, it means finding my purpose, means finding what at the end of the day gives me peace. I think that would be at the center of everything else. It will pull everything else that I desire to be and become, to it.
Awesome. So finding your purpose,
right,
what you were born or created for, and that will give you contentment and peace.
Right.
Why do you need this goal? Why is this so important to you? Why?
Because at the end of the day, I'm a finite being. I am not going to live forever. I don't know if I wish I would.
Forever young.
But I know that I am here, maybe because I believe in God, and I believe that everybody is created for a purpose, right? And I've been put on earth for a purpose. So I know I'm a finite being. I've been created for a purpose. And everybody, I think for myself, everybody has a calling, a reason why they're created, right? And it's until you start to walk in that path and walk in that line, there's an emptiness. You can do everything else, but until you hit that reason, the purpose and the reason for your being, you'll still feel empty. You will still feel unsatisfied, right? And so that for me is what's important. That at the end of the day, I know that this was what I was put here on earth for, and that I'm doing it, and that I'm being it. Is why it's critical for me to find that contentment and that peace.
And I'm loving the words you are using, because I mean, you obviously come across as extremely intelligent, and I wanted to affirm that. The word you use is critical, and for me, that kind of speaks to almost like, yeah. So that will bring me to the very next question. How would you know when you have achieved that goal? How would you know when you're already on that journey? What would it look like? How would you recognize when you're already on that journey?
The peace in that yearning, knowing that, even though I've done whatever I need to do and I'm tired and I'm stretched out and I'm, whatever it takes, right? But knowing that you go to bed at peace with yourself, that I did what I needed to do, what I was created to do. I think the peace is the part that validates that you are doing, not that you have done, because like I said, I don't think you can ever have done everything in that sphere.
You said the peace is the part that validates the doing.
Correct.
I wanted to hold that because I thought that was powerful. So what does peace look like to you? Is there any external thing? Is there any peace? How would we know that peace? How would you know, yes, that peace has happened?
How do you explain? How does anyone explain?
There's no right or wrong, and there's no, bizarre but it's very important so that you recognize what that litmus test. You said the peace is the part that validates the doing. So if that is that validation, how would you know that peace has happened? What does it look like to you?
I think it's something that is internal, like just the same way you have that discomfort within your spirit, and you have the sense that there's something missing, right? There's something that I'm not doing. That I'm not probably walking the path that I need to walk or fulfilling the purpose that I've been created to. I think on the other side of that is when you are, just like, there's so many things, and there is a pattern of my life, and I think everybody else has it. There is a pattern that your life has taken, and you know when certain things happen, how certain things have happened, what triggers there have been, what nuances there have been, what inclinations you've had. If you've studied your life, if anyone has studied their lives, you know certain patterns. There are certain patterns you see. When there's a pattern, it's time for a change, or it's time for a move, or it's time for a call, or it's time for prayer, or it's time for whatever, right? That sense in your spirit, right, tells you, it's like a compass. It tells you what direction to turn, where to look, what to do, how, and most time, some people call it intuition, some people call it the sixth sense, some people call it whatever. But I think when the same discomfort and unease in you that is telling you, you're created for more, you need to do more, when you satisfy that desire, I think it will also come and validate that, yes, you did this, you are doing what you need to do. And that is, I think, where the peace will generate from. And obviously, as someone, again, I believe in God, we have the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God also speaks and confirms certain things to you.
So what has stopped you before now? Because I'm like, girl, I should be on this side. You should be on, like, you. So what has stopped these goal of contentment, purpose? What has stopped you before now?
I would say the same thing that stops everybody. Like to say, the richest part, the place on earth is the grave, right? Same thing that stops everybody. It's fear And some, I would say, mindset.
I didn't get that. You said
Fear.
I want
Same thing that stops most people from becoming everything that they need to be is fear. And I would say, in my own case, some form of pride, which I probably didn't recognize as pride before now. I've always been someone who I'm an introvert, to an extent. I have over the time metamorphosed by condition and environment into becoming an extrovert when I need to be. But primarily my natural way of interaction, behavior is being an introvert. So I always wanted to hide if possible. But growing up and maturing, I realized that it was pride that was necessarily making me want to be behind the scenes. Like I'm part of a lot of groups, WhatsApp, whatever, but I will hardly comment. I will hardly say anything. But I'm there and I know everything that's going on, right? And I realized that doing that, and being someone who, like I said earlier on, I'm self-driven, so I can do things on my own, and I've accomplished some things on my own. But doing that and that hiding was in itself making me not exposing me to influences that would allow me to expand to a certain degree, and it was limiting me to just the capacity I had in myself, right? And that can only take me so far. Right. So I realized that if I needed to go further and grow capacity and expand beyond just my self capacity, I needed people. Right. Mm-hmm. So that meant that I had to do everything that I felt was contrary to my nature and contrary to my, self needs. Right. And getting myself out there. Again, the reason why I decided to do coaching was really part of that. Like you need to get yourself out there. If you now want to begin to fulfill purpose and be more than who you want to go, more than what you see yourself, and be who God has created you to be, and do these things that seem big ideas in your head, you really, really need to get yourself out of the darkness and put yourself in the light where people can see and recognize you. So
Whoa. Let me tell you some of the profound things I've heard you say, okay? You are an introvert, and that's just a personality type, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And I hear you say that, and that has worked for you, like, even in the pandemic and all that. But you also used a couple of words that were very significant, and I wanted to just, reiterate them again. You said, but that meant that you almost like you always were in hiding. Mm-hmm. You didn't really care for. You said the energy that social. I like that. You said the energy that socialization brings. Like, I can skip that. But you also said that by being by yourself all the time, you realize that it hasn't served your current desire, right, to express purpose. But you now tied it to, it's almost like you've taken us to the next question, that why do you think this is happening? And you said you finally came to the place where you said fear and pride. Mm-hmm. Fear and pride, two very profound words. If you could just maybe in 1-2 specific ways give me an example of what that, maybe in a practical example of how that fear maybe too has happened to you, and how the pride, like very specific example, because that would lead me to the next question.
Okay. Fear is just a fear of the unknown, fear of what if I were to put myself out there, what I could possibly do, what I could possibly accomplish. It was almost like I hear these ideas, I hear all of this going in my head, and I'm like, girl, you? Nah, not someone like you, not an introvert like you, not a girl who you're doing well for yourself, but no, that's way too much for you. Like, how could you possibly accomplish this? How could you possibly do this, right? So the fear of what I could possibly be and become scared me. And I was like, okay, back to the shell I go, you know? And for years, it's been that, like, you know, been doing that for years. And then the pride, it was, I'm doing okay. Like, compared to most, I'm all right. You know, how much more, you know, do you really need in your life, right? You know, again, looking at that self, looking at the self and the self and the self. So the fear was just the fear, just looking at how, you know, in my head, the imagery of what I saw or foresaw, right? Of what could be and become, and thinking, oh, you small thing could not possibly do that great thing. And then the pride was,
small thing
you small thing
could not possibly do that great thing. That was your fear.
That's the fear. Like Gideon in the Bible. Like, I'm the least of my brethren. Who am I? You know? And then, you know, the pride was, please just keep hiding. You know, you're good where you are. You know, you don't need all this external fame and all of that. You don't need all the flair. You don't need to put yourself out there. You know, you're thriving where you are. You're good where you are. You're doing good. You're still doing good for yourself. You're better than, you know, if you compare yourself, you're doing good, you know, compared to so many others. But the fear was, what if I could be greater? What if I could be better? What if I could be much more? And again, not just for me. This is no longer about me. The fear was keeping me to just me, but the pride was keeping me to just me. The fear was limiting me to just look at self and not more, not others, not others around me. So
the fear was keeping you, or rather focused on validating your own journey in relationship with only yourself.
Oh,
I'm good.
Right.
Wow. Then you also said that the fear in this case situation was the fear of unknown, or more importantly, the fear of your greatness. So you are afraid of Omo?
Yes, the Omo that could be.
Anything she could be.
That could be, yes. The outward Omo was scared of the inward Omo, of who the inward Omo was becoming. Like, you're not that warrior you're seeing. Just tame it, keep it in, you know. And I was scared, and I'm still scared. I will not lie, which is why I'm here. But part of, I think, liberating myself from that fear is like, okay, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? Is it better that you end your life with only doing this much and saying, okay, I actualize this for myself, or looking back and regretting that you never did with what you were given, you never did much with it? Which fear is greater? I think for me, it's getting to that point and like that I never did what I could have done would literally, even though I was already dying at that point, kill me, rather than trying now and failing or whatever, most likely maybe succeeding, but at least I tried. So I have gotten to the point where weighing the two options, that this fear of what I could be far underweighs what if I got to the end and I did not try. So I had to weigh both fears. And
yes, the two fears. And you know what? I'm going to hold that thought, because we are going to come back to it, because I think that this is probably like the crux of the entire, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the greatness, or rather the as exponential greatness that you can manifest if you just let go. Okay. But I think you also talked about pride. So the pride, in a sense, was like, would you say that it was like self-protective? You were keeping yourself from, so even though you're introverted, but it's more like it's working for me, let me hide. So the pride kept you, and I'm mirroring you now, the pride kept you hiding.
Correct. Right.
Not socializing, if that socializing was going to be doing something significant or great.
Right.
Let me ask you, because you are coming into more clarity, even in your expression, and I'm taking notes because this is very profound. So in the light of all this, what have you, now we've identified what has stopped you in the past, which is good, because if we can pinpoint what has stopped you in the past, then that's a good place. So fear and pride, we're going to come back to it. But I wanted to ask, so what have you tried so far to mitigate? Like, we know the two things that have stopped you. What have you tried so far?
What have I tried to get out of that?
The two.
Hiding of the fear and the pride?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
One of the things I've tried is sitting in front of you. If I could show you on my phone, right?
Whoa.
I've had a set goal. I know at least a year, at least a year, if not more, maybe even 3 or 4 years now, that I should reach out to Coach.
Wow.
It's a daily reminder. It comes up on my phone every single day. It was not until maybe like 2 months ago that I eventually took it out. I was like, girl,
wow,
it seems like you're not doing this. That's why I'll take it out of your daily goals. But I've recognized that I no longer have it within myself what I need to actualize my purpose. So I need someone that can help me. But I've been sitting on it. So sitting in front of you in itself, it's a big, big accomplishment in finally putting that fear. Because I know that the moment I speak out and open my mouth or even put myself in front of a coach, I'm actually holding myself to, you have to begin to tread this path. So that is one of the biggest things I would say, just getting myself here, committing myself to this is, and being someone who, I don't like to start things I will not finish, because I'm very stern and strict on myself. I'm always someone who's the hardest on herself. So I know that I didn't want to start a journey that I wasn't going to complete or get myself into something that I would pull out of. So I'm really committed to this, knowing that I need that change. I want to break free, right?
I was looking around to see if I had a glass of champagne or something. I wanted to bring to the fact that one of the very specific strategic ways you had put in place, to counteract this fear and pride was actually taking the step to be on the transformation show. I think we have to take a moment to celebrate that, because like that's some shift, right?
It is.
How do you feel about this?
Excuse me?
How do you feel about this?
I'm nervous. I am nervous because I thought I was just going to go in little strides, and then this opened up, and I'm like, are you sure you're ready for this? Like, this is from 0 to 100 really quick. And so, but I was like, you know what? I had made that determination that I wasn't going to shrink back anymore, right? So whatever came my way, I'll be ready to try, at least try. I'm no longer going to not just sit back and not try. I'm going to try. and see where it leads. I want to at least take the first step and see where it leads.
So in a sense, you said, give way instrumental. I'm going to move from instrumental to exponential. You see why I'm not kind of moving past it, because I know how very big this is for you. And I wanted to honor that, and I hope you can. Girl, I want you to come to that, because this is not a small.
Thank you.
You got to honor every journey, because this is very important. Wow. So tying it out nicely, I wanted to ask you a couple of more questions. So now that we know what has stopped you, now that you've even been able to articulate what steps you've taken. If nothing is impossible, what will you do now after this? What is your next step? Okay, now that you've come out, you're no longer hiding. No limitations. If you had all the resources, what do you do beginning from now?
Wow.
Take your time.
Wow.
Think through it. Sit in it.
Yeah.
Stay in. I'm here for you. Unhurried.
I think for the right now, I would utilize the resources I already have, right? There's always something in your hand. And I feel like there's already something in my hand that I can use, right? It doesn't have to be something that I have to reinvent from scratch. And that is, my relationship with you as a coach, continuing in this path and not wavering from this journey I've already started, right? I will continue to put myself out there, meaning learn and, get coaching, get some, accountability, and be, get myself in a space where I can continue to be driven by others, right? Another thing that I will start to do or continue to do, which I kind of already started doing, is I already am part of a lot of networks. I can begin to harness the strengths in those networks, right? Make myself become more visible, get myself out of that comfort zone of hiding behind the shadows, right? And be more visible, whether it's in commenting on things or someone is having a birthday and just say happy birthday, or, rather than just being silent, to actually begin to use my voice, utilize my voice, and speak, where I feel like I need to speak, rather than just, okay, let others do the talking and I'll just, I'll just listen, So I can utilize the networks that I'm already part of. And then I guess I'm hoping that as part of this discovery of learning and being coached and getting myself out there, then I will know what other kind of networks I need to be part of that would help to get me to where I need to be. Other relationships that I need to form. It may also be what other, education that I need, right? Whether it's in books, whether it's in courses, whether it's in whatever it is, right? And I think that's essential for me, especially because I'm someone who's, I'm attracted to learning. I'm big on education. But I got to a point that it wasn't no longer, I used to set goals of I need to do a course every year, and I used to do that. But it was no longer just about learning, acquiring learning. For what? For what? What was I applying? Yes. Right. To what end, right? So now it's, if I need to do a course, it's directed at what I know I need to be doing, right? What kind of knowledge I'm trying to gain. And then just being fearless.
I love that word.
Trying to just do rather than overthinking, because I can overthink things. Oh my goodness, I can overthink. Getting out of the space of just thinking and thinking to just doing. Yes, I know there will be failures, there will be non-starters, there will be challenges, but I appreciate the part of me who has always been dogged and rugged in the space of not letting those things pull me down. So I'm glad that I already kind of have that attribute of pulling through tough times and pulling through challenges. So I know that when challenges come, I can stay the course if I need to, but I have to have a very strong reason to do so, and not to quit. So if I were to start, I will do those things. I will continue with accountability and the coaching, and that, someone who's there tapping my back and saying, keep going, girl, keep going. It would be to strengthen, be more visible as part of my networks, and to strengthen networks, and join new ones that I know would help in my journey. And then it would be to continue to learn as it reinforces where I need to go and what I need to be doing.
So you see, you've actually fantastically touched on several options that you could explore. In like, there's no limitation. This is what I will do. So I wanted to just this is what I heard you say. So one of the options you said that if I couldn't fail, I will explore structured learning. For you are always constantly evolving, but you said you want to be specific in structuring the learning that you need, that will empower you to finding, using, and owning your voice, right?
Yes.
And you also said, use my voice. I love that. Used my voice, and you simplified it to something as simple as reaching out to someone, happy birthday, speaking up at meetings. You also said that you currently belong to a couple of networks, but you are going to be moving to the next step in building community within those networks, by being engaging. The word you used that I love is harnessing. So like the community within those networks, to kind of explore it. And you said coaching for you is a fundamental tool, because that would not be you walking alone, right? And yes, and you also talked about courses, not just so these are some of the things you could do, that would lead you to more discovery, right? Of your purpose, for that sense of peace and contentment.
Right.
I wanted to ask. So what is in all these things you could do because you cannot fail? I wanted to ask, what is your first step? Then I remembered, piggyback on our conversation, that you already took the first step, right?
Yes.
By being on the transformation show. So let me ask, what will be your second and third step out of all these options? And when
the second step, other than getting myself out there, what I already started doing is I'm talking to more and more people, right, about this idea, and hearing from them why or why not they think it will work, right? So I'm already putting myself out there. Like I said, I'm already challenging myself to the possibility of inventing this, right? And then what I'm also already doing is, I'm also doing my own research about how this particular implementation has been done in other places, in other countries, right? But knowing that where I'm thinking of implementing this is a completely different culture, place, way of thinking and all of that. So I'm talking to people more about this, but what the next step I intend to take from here on out is now to reach out to those people who are currently doing that, in that space, and understand how they did it, why they did it, how they did it, and what challenges they faced, and exponentially how those challenges will magnify on a larger scale. But how can we start? How can this be started, right? And what we intend to do in a broader scale. So I intend to reach out to or find those people who have done this, who are
find those people and reach out to them.
And reach out to them.
So when might you find them? When would you start to find them and reach out to them? When? I'm trying to see if we can put a timeline. That way, you can just take some very specific option, okay, in the coming days, maybe even hours, right, to kind of move you further to that burning thing within you, the invention within you that is one of the ways you want to serve people outside of yourself. When do you intend to reach out to the people?
It's funny because I was just looking up a contact yesterday. So someone had mentioned this to someone last March, and she was like, I know somebody who has done this. And she connected me with the lady, and I spoke with her over an hour. And I said I was going to get back to her, after doing some research. So I think it's time for me to reach out to that person who has done this. And she did tell me that when I was ready, she will connect me with other people who are doing the same thing. So I think it's time. I just pulled up her, contact yesterday. I will reach out to her. I commit to doing that today. I commit to doing that today, reaching out to her today, and starting the conversation up again, and to start to talk about what next steps can be taken in order to see this through or see this started in Nigeria. So that is what I'm committed to do today.
I'm celebrating your wins, and because I know that you will stick with your commitment and you'll make this happen. Now, tying it all together, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least clarity, not sure, and 10 being the highest clarity and motivation, where would you say you were at the beginning of this conversation?
Oh, at the beginning of this conversation, I would say I was at maybe a 3 or 4, because I know I needed to kind of have a conversation that will help me think through it. It's one thing thinking through when you're sitting down. It's another thing actually verbalizing it and letting someone engage. So I was at a 3, 4 or 4. I would say 4 at the beginning of this conversation.
And where would you say you are now, even though you're still evolving, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least clarity and the least motivation, okay, and 10 being the most clarity and the most motivation now at the end of the conversation?
Can I split that into 2? Can I split the clarity and the motivation into 2 ratings?
There you go. Let's do clarity. Then we do motivation. So for clarity, 1 to 10.
Clarity, I would say right now I'm at a 6, because it's like, okay, I have validation that, there really isn't anything stopping me other than myself. It's basically what I gleaned from this conversation. And then I would give it a 6, that, at least I'm clear on the fears and the pride. It was just all me. It was nothing else other than me. And only me can get myself out of the way so that the new me, can emerge. So that's the clarity. And then on the motivation, I would say an 8, because now I'm like, okay, now I can reach out to somebody today. It doesn't have to be next week.
On the motivation, on the scale of 1 to 10, what number are you on motivation?
8. I said an 8.
Okay, 8.
I am motivated to, reach out to somebody today. Start this conversation today, and get going on that and see where that leads. So.
Okay. Now, And I wanted to kind of still sit on it. So you moved from a 3 to 6 on clarity, which is, some progress. What do you think can move you from 6 to 10 on clarity? What will need to happen for you to move maybe 2 or 3 more steps?
I think it will be, for me to be on a scale of 10, at 10 for clarity, I will need to know exactly the steps that I'm taking. I don't know, I cannot say that right now I know all the steps. I probably know the next step, right? And that's as much as I have now. And do I know where all this is going to lead to? No. So I don't necessarily have all the clarity of this is where I'm going or ending up or having any steps, but I have the clarity enough to take the next step. So to get to a 10, it means I know everything I need to do, and I'm just in my role. I'm just in my sequence mode, which is my task-oriented mode of, okay, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, do this first. I'm not there yet. So that's the finding I still need to do to know what steps I still need to take to get to where I need to get to.
And I believe it ties into, what you said when you create, if you couldn't feel what you will do, if you had all the resources, it ties to, the constituents that you already identified that we are going to help you in that journey of clarity. You had identified networking, right? You had identified community. You had also identified coaching. So in a sense, you don't have all the clarity, but you've moved from 3 to 6, but you've identified, quote unquote, the structures, right, that can keep you moving from probably 6 to 8. And that's a journey you are committed to. So for motivation, you have enough motivation to start now. Mm-hmm. What would you do or need to do to keep sustaining that motivation, to make sure that we don't go back to?
I think the coaching is a big part of that. Okay. I think that it's easy for me to, well, it's not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but I know you could eat a snack and I could just be like, well, this is not working. I knew this was going to be hard. And you just shrink back into that. So the coaching will be a strong determining factor for keeping the motivation up, right? Having an accountable person that is pushing and making sure and checking on me.
I want you to, and it's fine, I'm just going to take you through a quick, maybe 2 minutes visualization exercise. Mm-hmm. Let's work with the mindset now that all these you wanted to do, including the reaching out the community, something you have done, and it's brought you to the point where you've created that burning thing that you have within your heart that can benefit people. If you were to get to the end, not where we are, I know it's a journey, but I want, kind of move to the end. I want you to make it as a statement of fulfilling that goal, but put it in an affirmative statement and see if you can express it so that you capture it, your spirit captures it. And if possible, you write it down and that becomes your guiding statement.
Where the end of this, right?
Yes.
This is not that easy. Okay. At the end of this journey, I see myself as a pioneer and a forerunner of a provider or an integrator of alternative formal education provider in Nigeria.
Omo is a pioneer of alternative formal education in Nigeria, West Africa. So, with this, what is the emotional state of Omo? Is Omo content, or is Omo still feeling the emptiness? I want you to speak to how Omo is in the future journey that Omo is committing to becoming.
Emotionally?
All round, in terms of legacy, contentment, purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
At the end of this journey, at the end of this discovery, Omo has discovered that there is absolutely nothing that she cannot do. As the pioneer of alternative formal education, an innovator of alternative formal education in Nigeria, Omo feels content that she has impacted the lives of parents. She has impacted the lives of children. She has created a belief that the poorest, most impoverished, most unopportune child can get the best education, And by doing that, she strides quickly to her next goals and knows that she's just getting started with impact and more lives to impact.
I'll drink to that. Welcome, Omo the visionary. Welcome, the content Omo. Welcome, Omo, who has rediscovered herself and her divine purpose. Welcome, the pioneer, the transformer, who has given back to disenfranchised children. Welcome, the Omo who has bettered everything she was created for. I'm toasting to your greatness.
Toasting to my greatness as well.
Awesome. Before I end the
session,
thank you for showing up, and we will be continuing this conversation if you would like to continue this conversation, and yes, it will be a pleasure to work with you on this journey. Okay.
Thank you so much, Coach Eden. It's been a great time to express what's inside of me.
How did you find the transformation show?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Great opportunity, and I thank you for this opportunity as well.
Hi, Eden. How are you today?
I'm very well, Dr. TC. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. I'm excited. Do you want to tell us about how that session went? How was she before? And how did it transition later on?
So we identified the limitations. The limitations, or rather, what had stopped her before was two things: fear and pride. And I asked her, what does fear sound like? Because we can't make assumptions in coaching. Fear is such a big word. So we identified, she said it was the fear of her own greatness. Fear of what I could become if I did more than I'm doing.
Wow.
And on the pride was masked in I'm an introvert, I don't like people, that is my superpower. Whereas it had worked for her, she was glad with the pandemic. She didn't like, but in fact, in her own words, very brilliant. She said, I didn't care for the energy of socialization.
Wow.
But she now realized that was a crutch in a sense. So that introvert thing was stopping her from seeking help. So she already took the first step by coming on the transformation show.
Wow.
For her, she said, this is 0 to 100. She said, like, what am I doing here? So to be honest, TC, we had to clap and dance to that and pop an imaginary champagne. pay because this
Wow.
was someone going radically out of our comfort zone. So I'm optimistic that if we explored some of the more options, the question was, if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? So if we can identify one or two things, then we can just put the way forward. And I believe that with the clarity that she's come into of what had stopped her and identifying the tool for legacy and expressing purpose in the way she, desires, which is the socialization that she had kept away from. I strongly believe that this is one life to watch out for.
Wow,
I am drinking to her greatness.
that's so profound. Thank you very much for being part of the Transformation Show. Thank you for your commitment. And we really, truly believe that with each episode, people across the world will get coached as they watch in real time. And that, for me, is my gift. That, for us, is our gift to the world. So, Eden, thank you very much. And you do have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Thank you so very much. And God bless you too. Thank you for having me.
If you need a coach or therapist, or would like to train to become a certified coach or therapist, please call +234 8098 883 555 or +234 8077 077 000. Alternatively, send an email to hello@thecatalyst.ng.com.